It's like,
Huh.
at least that's
You
what
got
his,
Fergus and Bert.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what his name says.
Huh.
So, sorry, Kevin. I was in another meeting and I forgot that I had to actually switch meetings. I get very confused with this. I hope you weren't waiting long. I got a text from Evan. I bet you he's pissed off. Like only Evan can see. Yeah, really. Evan's text on it says, ahem, literally, he says, ahem. I believe it is time for third period help session and lunch. So there he is, hard ass. Evan, I like your text, Evan. It's good. It's funny.
I've been waiting for 10 minutes playing with the toy lightsaber in my room and a Nerf gun.
Sorry about that. I hope I didn't, ruin your day. But
That's fine.
how's it going? Was the assignment clear? It's probably clearer than it usually is with me. Being on Schoology and everything.
There you go.
Yeah, but the first question for typers, it said they all have the same mass, but they don't have the same mass.
Ooh, let me look.
Which I don't think it made a difference. But I'm just saying that's a little like.
That's a little weird. Let's see if no. I'm going to it now. Just make sure I get it. All right, working energy typers. There you go. Huh. Yeah. So if you do it, question is, I did it based on the picture. I did not read that the problem said the same mass. But the question is, if they did all have the same mass.
Well, I don't think it makes a difference though.
It would depend a little bit. If they kept their velocities the same, one of them has 2 and the other one has 4. Yeah, B and C had larger, right?
Yeah.
The velocity should matter because it gets squared. That's really all this. The idea this is going for is just here. So the idea that problem's going for is just. Let me get better at this. Hold on. I got this. Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. Now you see it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the idea on this one is just to make sure that you realize that the velocity matters more than the mass does, really, because of the squaring in the kinetic energy. That's all. And the direction doesn't mean squat, right? Right? Direction, it's not a vector. So screw direction. There's no such thing as a downward negative kinetic energy or something.
Yeah.
All right, cool. How about any more of these that I can help people with? You don't bring questions. This is a lot of awkward staring.
Well, I was really confused on all the questions with the graphs or like the bars.
Sweet. Yeah. Oh yeah, good. Yeah, those are good. Those are good ones to be confused about. Let's start with a couple of those, shall we?
Like the bar graph ones. Like I think, and 19 and 20.
Which one's this? So 19, 20. So we can jump down there. Let's go. We'll jump all the way to 19. Let's just jump to the end. 19 and 20, huh?
Oh, really?
19. All right. So clock is pushed up smooth. There's no friction. Constant speed from A to B. Okay, so the first thing that I note when I read that, it says constant speed. So when I see this, and I know that there is no change in kinetic energy, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could put, and I'm looking at this one, you can put any, they don't give us numbers, so you could really put any bar arrangement that you want here. I don't see anything that would, like any numbers or anything that would indicate that I would have to make a certain size. So I can't remember what I did when I posted the answers, but I think I made them too big. So let's just say, let's make the Kinetic
Nice
Energy
bar chart.
2 of these bad boys. And like I said, so the first thing I want you to know is the importance of them saying it goes at constant speed. The kinetic energy does not change. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. Now, however, what about the potential energy? If they claim that this spot, A, is the 0 level, is there an increase in potential energy?
Yes.
Gotta be,
because
right?
it's higher.
Right, because it went higher. So once again, I really don't care what the size of the bar is here. It won't make a difference. But we already know, they said since this point here, A is 0, this is 0. This is going to be, I'll make it 3 blocks, just so it's different than kinetic energy. It's probably, whatever. There you go. So, all right. So one of the things you have to keep in mind and by the way, spring energy, 0, both cases, right? I don't see a spring in this problem. So that's 0. The initial potential energy is 0. Gravitational potential energy, 0. All right. So one of the things about these things that you have to know is, and they're getting increasingly, like I wouldn't be surprised in a really AP exam to start seeing some of these, let me get out of my, I want to be able to just grab things here. Oh, here we go. All right. So is your initial energy, if there's no work by external forces, has to be the same as your final energy. Or another way to look at it is everything inside this red box, I'm making it red because I'm a genius. Everything over here, I was going to make it red. Damn it. Everything inside that red thing has to be equal to what you end up with. So it's what you start with plus what happens from external forces has to be what you end up with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that would mean that the work is the same as the potential energy.
Potential energy. So I'm working on it. There we go. So yes, the work done by, in this case, has to be, oh, come on, you little weasel. I clicked on you. I didn't want to move. Isn't this awesome? Okay. So this should also be 3 blocks as well. So the person, and what's the external force? In this case, it's the hand. If friction was involved, that would also be an external force, and it could do negative work. Correct? Gravity is not an external force because it's part of the overall system, since its energy is represented here. All right, so that's 19. Let's see if we can apply this reasoning to 20. All right.
Well, 20 has friction.
All right, has friction. Student applies a horizontal force of 80 newtons to the right. Box. Okay, so the box starts at rest. Let's start there. What does that tell me right there?
Well, if it starts at rest, then there's no kinetic energy.
All right, sweet. We have no kinetic energy here. What else can I assume is 0?
Spring.
Yeah, yes, we can definitely assume that the spring is 0 because there is no spring. What else?
And I mean, I guess the potential energy too, because it's on the ground.
Yep, exactly. So the potential energy, since it's always at the same level, we're just going to call that level 0. Why not call it 0 as well? Look at that, I made a big line. I'm going to turn that off. I just want to do, okay, anyway, whatever. All right, so I got nothing going on in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
It's not moving because it starts from rest. It's not. It's at ground. It's at lowest level and it's going to stay there. And there's no spring involved in the question at all. But when I'm done, so it starts initially at rest on a rough horizontal surface. Friction is. All right. So he pushes with 80. Friction's going to go against him with 40. Is there a net force?
Yeah.
Right? His force is more than friction. Normal and gravity are going to cancel each other out. So there's going to be a net force, which means there's going to be an acceleration, which means it's going to be going faster by the time it gets to point B.
Oh.
And so what we invoke here is the sacred work energy theorem. We say
Ooh.
I knew that was going to, I knew Burgess was going to do that, that the network is equal to that. Remember, it's that one of the most important ideas or / equations that's not on your equation sheet is equal to the change in an object's kinetic energy, which in this case is a really good example of this. The object's kinetic energy is about to change. In this case, the only way that's going to happen is the net work. Whatever happens in here has to be the same as the kinetic energy, right? Because the change went from 0 to whatever it's going to have. But here's the cool thing. Let me see if it's going to all go away. That's all right. There you go. So here's the interesting part. So what are the external forces on this thing?
The hand.
Okay, so let's start with that. The hand we will do in green. And how much work does it do? So work is going to be force times distance.
So it will be
80 times 5.
80 times 5.
Bingo.
400.
So it will be what, 400, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how about we make that 4 blocks? Why not? So I'm going to say that the hand, is that positive or negative work?
Positive.
Positive, because it's pushing that to the right and the block is moving to the right. So 1, 2, 3, is that 4 right there? I think it is. I like the way I changed the opacity. I know, and I use the word opacity. By the way, does it look like I'm in my room?
No.
It does. It
I'm
just
not.
looks.
I'll show you later on. It's my background. Sorry, I'm so excited about that. All right. What about friction? What kind of work does it do?
Negative work.
It does negative work. How much?
200.
All right, negative 200. And
Yeah.
it is also an external force. We will do it in blue. Trickier than it looks. All right. See, I knew that was going to happen. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it like this. Boom. Then I'm going to take the little hand thingy and I'm going to move it. There we go. It does negative 200. So what's the net work done is going to be 200, correct?
Yeah.
When I subtract those 2 out. So it should have a kinetic energy at the end of 200.
Okay.
All right, so that's how these things work. It's sometimes, well, it's knowing what the phrases mean. So like, if it doesn't change speed, then there's no change in kinetic energy. If friction is there's probably going to be some negative work done in there. Not every external force is friction. You could have a hand pushing on it. There could be a rocket tied to it. Whatever. There's all kinds of usually, oftentimes it's friction, but not always. Let's see. I thought this one down up here was wonderfully baffling when I was doing it. This boat one. This 10 and 11, I guess it's all number 10. This one was pretty interesting because to me, it shows that there's more than one way to get to certain results in energy, and you have to think about it a little bit. So like this I thought was pretty simple. boat goes from 2 to 4 meters per second. So all right, so first thing is it describes this as having 2 blocks of kinetic energy. Once again, it's arbitrary. First question. How many blocks of kinetic energy is it going to have when it gets to here?
4 question mark.
Well done, Evan. That's wrong, but the question mark tells me that you're like, I don't trust my answer. And you're right, you shouldn't, because what do we know about, ready? Here we go. I should get my little pen thing is. Kinetic energy. Oh boy. I'm writing with a mouse. You're just going to have to actually, yeah, is equal to, oh, screw it. Hold on.
I can't write with the mouse either.
Yeah. KE equal to 1/2 mv squared, and the squared here is what I'm trying to drive home.
Oh, yeah.
Because that velocity gets squared, I don't care what the mass is. If I double the velocity, I'm going to quadruple the amount of kinetic energy. So the first thing I'm looking for as a teacher when I see this is I'm looking to see if your kinetic energy at the end, if you recognize that it's not going to be 2 or 4 or 6, it's going to be 8. That's number 1. Now, in this case, it's straightforward. Like we said, these first 2 columns have to add up to the third. So how much external work was done? Well, remember,
6.
right? The external work, I don't think I can do net work on this. I'm not going to install the, but remember, like, net work is equal to change in kinetic energy. So how much did the kinetic energy change by here?
6.
By 6. So the net work should be 6 units big. So I'll do that in yellowish, goldish color. This ought to be ugly. 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Positive 6. End of story. Problem done. Isn't energy easy? Then we go down to the one below it. No. What?
Ooh.
I knew Burgess was going to do that too. This is the sort of thing that excites physics teachers. Sorry, it just is. So what's weird about this problem is it starts off the same. Because let's face it, energy is not a vector. So it doesn't matter that it's going to the left. There's no such thing as negative kinetic energy. It just isn't. So even though we start and end at the same, how we get there in this case is funkier. It is definitely funkier. So I want you to look at it as 2 segments here. The first thing that this mysterious external force, probably by the engine of the boat or something, the first thing it has to do is stop this thing, doesn't it? Before you can go the other way, you got to stop, correct?
Yeah.
So what kind of work, I want you to think about it, what kind of work does the engine of the boat have to do to stop it? So if I'm going, say, this way, which way does my force have to be to stop me?
The opposite.
The opposite way. So what kind of work is it doing?
Negative.
Negative work. So part of this deal here, over here in the external work, is part of this work is going to be negative. The work to slow it down is going to be negative. And so first thing it has to do is, and I'll do this in ugly green, is to remove this initial kinetic energy and bring it to 0. I'm in yellow still, who cares? Then it's got another task. Now it's stopped and it has to go speed it up the other way. How much does it got to speed it up by?
10.
All right, very good, because I need to end up with 8 either way, right? So this is going to be rectangle. I don't want this color. I tried not to use this color before. Let's see. So this should be, now I think we're going to be off the charts here, but that's all right. This happens, by the way. They didn't always design on more than one of these. The bars aren't enough bars. It happens. There's one in here where you have to draw like way up here. It's okay. So we got to put in. It's got to do 10 units of positive to counteract the 2 negative it had to do first. But notice the end result is the same. Did I get that right? Double check me. Did I get that right? Is it 8? And I need to end up with 8. So yeah, 10 minus 2. But this needs to be 6 net, doesn't it? I add it with this. Am I doing this right? Let me think.
Wait. Oh,
But I need to end up with.
I guess the second one would be 8 then. Yeah.
Is this 8?
Yeah.
Well, just set it equal to the last bar.
Right. This is gonna be 8. Right. This is gonna be 8. Sorry, you're right. Because these 2 cancel, and then I have to just basically put in the kinetic energy to get up to 4, or the work to get the kinetic energy of 4. Okay, good. So there's the simple way to look at it, and then that change of direction plays around with us here a little bit, which is why this is a good question. How about what about these 2 with the graphs? So these are a little bit. For Mr. Burgess, these will be a little bit of a. I put it this way. Later on, we're going to look at probably plenty of questions that involve graphs where force is the y and distance or displacement is the x, but that is not what we're dealing with here. Now, this wouldn't matter to you because we haven't dealt with the other much. So, but I want to point that out. So, so they want to know the work done. This is all about what I said a little bit ago, and that is network equal change in kinetic energy, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you're looking at anytime, so the velocity over here is your indicator of a change in kinetic energy. For example, in A, does the velocity change?
No.
No. So then how much work is done?
0.
0, right? If there's no change in KE, so A and D right away I know are 0. All right. If the velocity increases, is the work done positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, right? Because in order to increase, you get right. So B is an increase in velocity, so it's going to be positive. We could figure out the change in velocity, couldn't we? Right?
Yeah.
It goes from 2 to 6. It's B4. We could figure. C is slowing down, correct? It goes from 6 to 0. And by the way, slowing down, because you might see this later on, slowing down could also be going from here to here. Energy doesn't give it 2 craps what direction it's going in. This is slowing down. You're going from -6 to 0, you slow down. So this work is what?
Negative.
Negative.
All right, this is negative work. This is positive work. And in this case, notice they don't say magnitude like they did all the time in the other ones. They just say rank the work done. All right, so I'm going to go B first because it's positive, A and D next together because it's 0, C is last because it's negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I could, estimate, I can make up numbers for the mass and all that, but really that's all we have to do for that one. So it's the same kind of thing here. I'll leave this one for you guys to work on.
Wait, so if it is magnitude, then is it the absolute values?
Yes, but in work, you may run across that. So yeah, if they ask for the magnitude, then I would have to I would say this is a bigger change in velocity in the same amount of time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I would say this is actually, the time doesn't really make a difference here. It's just the change in velocity. And this is a bigger change in velocity. So it's a bigger change in kinetic energy. So if you went magnitude, this would be my largest.
Okay.
But they don't. So I would keep it, just go with the negative as being smaller than the positive. All right, there's one here. What about this one? There's a concept here that this one's trying to drive home to you. I guess my point is, the first thing I would want you to do is, what's the deal with D and F?
There is no work done because
Wait, can I do my thumbs up thing here? I don't think I
it's
can.
perpendicular and
Right.
cosine is 0.
First issue is, well, not issue, but the first thing you recognize is these two, D and F, 0 work being done. Work is, there has to be at least a component with or against the displacement. All right, so is all of this force with the displacement?
Not all of it, but some of it.
Some of it is. So, but it's the same force. So here, the force gets split between some up and some right. Here and here and here, it doesn't get split, does it?
No.
So I'm guessing magnitude-wise, this is the next biggest after 0.
Yeah.
All right. Are any of these negative?
E.
Good. E's negative. Is there any difference between A and B?
B has a greater displacement.
All right, but it has the same force, presumably, right? Yep, same magnitude force. So this should have the largest amount of positive work, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go B there. Next largest amount of positive work.
A.
Well, exactly. A and C are close, except not all of this force goes to moving to the right. So I'm going to go A, but then C would be after that. And then since they don't say magnitude, we got to put negatives last. So that means D and F, which are 0, are together here. And E, being the only negative one, is all alone at the end. Getting better at the mouse thing. Now, you know. Maybe we'll evolve to the point where we don't even know how to write with a pencil or pen. We just like have to write with a mouse. Like,
Wouldn't you? I thought someone said they got like did you say you got like a mouse pen?
yes,
thing?
I did. It's in my bag. I have to get it out.
It's probably at home because you're in your room right now.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's in my room somewhere. I don't know. I lost it. So, oh yeah.
Where are
Speaking
you at
of.
school? You're supposed to be there.
Speaking of. So here. Ready? No. I got a green screen. Walmart sells fabric that's green. I risked my life to go get that fabric. I went to the Elkton Walmart. You realize that normally you're likely to get a disease at the Elkton Walmart anyway, and now for you,
The
Yeah.
disease will be blocking out the other.
It's true. You're right. The diseases in Elkton are so badass. Syphilis, I'm sure, beats up COVID-19. I'm sure.
Wait,
Hey. Random thing just so you see. We have Casey Ryan just had a boy.
Okay. Oh, really? Casey's? Awesome. So anyway, I can change my background now. I obviously found a picture of my room, but this is one of my favorites. I posted this one on Facebook, but because like
You look like you're one of the heads.
I can take a piece of this and cut and hold on. This is important. So if I take a piece of the same fabric and I wrap it around myself, I can make myself like Teddy Roosevelt. Ready? Like, it's hard to do, but there you go. How's that?
Nice. There you go, right
There you go.
there.
Yeah, I thought Teddy Bear, or I could make myself like disappear.
It's an invisibility cloak.
Yes, it basically is. It's so much fun. So yeah, I can do Mount Rushmore. I could do. This is more for. Hold on, I'm doing it wrong.
So
Let's see. I could do. Oh, let's go. We're on the Death Star.
Nice.
oh wait, I have a red lightsaber too.
See?
Or-
Or if you want to be on Tatooine, two suns. Let's see. I just because you know Star Wars the prequels use so much green screen. It was sad. Let's see. I like being in Mordor. There's the eye. Yeah. But anyway. Helm's Deep. Let's go back to my happy place. There we go. I'm happy.
Okay, so for number 18, I think the answers, I'm pretty confident at least one of the answers you put was wrong.
That's a darn good possibility. Let's go look.
Because I feel like you assumed that like they both had the same mass, but they
I
don't.
may have. Let's take a look. Actually, speed, time, work done, work.
Because you said, because
All right, so yeah, so I will stand by my answer. I think you're right. I think I stand by your answer. My answer for speed, because mass shouldn't make a difference in that case.
Okay. But for
And
E, I know you were definitely wrong.
so
because-
yes, but then if we assume that, because I'm sure I assume their masses were the same. Angel has more mass than Brittany. Okay, so go away. So oh Jesus, what did I just do? Oh Christ Almighty! Hold on. That thing's been popping up recently. I got this. I just got to remember where the hell it was. Here we go. That's not it. There we go. Okay, so Angel is more massive. So that means that it's only the one of the points of this thing is it's only the vertical distance that matters to gravity. And gravity moves them both the same vertical distance. So it applies a larger force to Angel then, because she has more weight over the same vertical distance. So Evan would be correct. The work done by the gravitational force is greater for Angel then. Yes?
Yeah.
All right, good. So I'll have to go back and fix that answer.
E was definitely wrong because like it's kinetic energy.
Right, and so therefore they're going to have the same speed. That I can guarantee. Let's see if I can do this without screwing it up. They're
Well,
going to
same
definitely.
speed, but the Angel will still have more kinetic energy
Right,
because she has more
because
mass.
she has more mass. Right.
Mhm.
So the key there is that recognizing they will have the same speed, but Angel, I did not read the fact that she has more mass, so I'll have to go back and change that. So C and E would need to be changed. Thank you for catching that, Evan.
You're welcome.
I should work a reward system for people that catch mistakes that I make.
Okay, can it start now? Or like I guess 5 seconds ago?
Evan, if I make a rewards program, I will guarantee you, because I'm afraid of you a little bit. You and Elijah. Elijah in our meeting didn't do a thing. Like in my last guy, he unmuted, he didn't talk, scared us. He didn't give us a picture. It just said Elijah St. Pierre, muted. And then he chatted us. We said his mic might not work, and he just chatted us and said, "It works." He was scaring the hell out of us. I mean, he does on a normal basis, but okay. So anything else? Because I'm not going to keep you here if you haven't looked at them, and I'm not going to do them for you.
I mean, I haven't looked at all of them.
Okay.
I may procrastinate and just finished an hour ago, but I did look at them.
All right, that's fine. So you guys know the deal as well. If you're working on one of these later today, you're welcome to shoot me a text with a picture of it and saying, "Did I do this right?" Like that's always been the case. So, like I'm not going to drag you out here for an hour. And by the way, if we're doing these help sessions and you got help on the ones that you needed help with, and you're welcome to if you just disappear, I won't hold it against you. Like, all right, these help sessions are free form. You can come and go as you please. You can put me on mute or whatever, or you can, leave me off to the side. And if you see a problem pop up that you're like, oh yeah, I did need help, that's fine too. I just want to, these are a lot more free form. Like, when we do the help session days at school, like, I want to talk just to talk. So, all right. The multiple choice, I'm going to post the answers to that. In fact, let's just do that now, shall we? Well, I have you guys here. We're going to go. So the dates are in, by the way, for, I don't know if you saw my update, for the AP exam. Is anybody here taking the AP exam?
I am.
Who is? Berg? Just Berg? Okay. So who else?
Evan.
Evan's taking it? Okay. Now speak up, Evan. So
I have a low voice, okay?
it's right now it's going to be the 14th, May 14th at 4 p.m. Don't ask me how. We'll figure that out later. There's
I think it's online, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be online, the whole bit. And so, yeah, there's going to be a makeup test on the 2nd, June 2nd at 2 p.m. So if you were really uncomfortable with trying to get, if you just did not feel ready, you could risk it and do it on the 2nd. The problem there is if you have technical difficulties or something else happens, that's it. Like there's no makeup time.
Yeah.
We can discuss because I could also see we're a little behind. If you work, you'll be all right. But I could see us, wanting that time to wrap up and get ready. So I'll kind of leave it as an individual student basis as to where you feel at that point, and we'll take it from there. Sure as hell that when you go to take it, once we know exactly what's required and all the different, we are going to make sure I will make sure that you have, we'll make sure you have laptop, whatever you need, Wi-Fi, extra connections to the power grid, whatever I need to do to make sure that you don't, crash and burn on that thing from a technology standpoint.
Your devices at home. Are we behind because you skipped around and they're doing the tests based on the order that?
Yeah, it burnt me in waves. They cut out waves completely, and that's what we did in the first part. So that's put us behind most other classes. It's not huge behind. We have momentum, which we can do pretty quickly, and rotational motion, which if you're paying attention is really all the same stuff that we've already done, like kinematics and forces, just for things that spin instead of things that move back and forth.
They just have different letters meaning the same
right
thing.
So it's really the same ideas, just different letters and things to go with it, but it's the same. There's a Newton's second law for it. It's all the same. It's just it's really more of a vocabulary thing than anything else.
Really, it makes me feel like you're going in circles.
You really do, Evan. You really do. And when you get to angular momentum, it's a little weird, but they don't make you do too many calculations with that, so we can work on it. Rolling is a little strange. We'll get to that. But yeah, so now AP has also, if you go to YouTube and you subscribe to the AP channel, I think it is. Let's take a look at it.
I need to subscribe to them. Just go to the channel.
I'm just trying to figure out what this is saying. All right. I guess I only have one subscription. I don't know. Manage. Here you go. So there's a channel called Advanced Placement. Can I get out of this? I don't really care. Who is this person? I don't even know who that person is. But this right here is going to be worth it, because on there, you'll have to do some searching probably. They have they'll have AP Physics videos. They are all, and actually they have them for your other classes too if you're taking them. But they're starting with the last unit so rotation is first, and then they have forces in equilibrium, but that includes pi torque. So yeah, all the stuff they have right now is rotation. They say they're going to put more stuff up, so we can. These are like actual like veteran AP teachers who probably know what they're doing, unlike me. And so we'll rely on them, see if it's better than Khan Academy and me. We'll see. We have no idea. But the fact that AP contacted these particular teachers to make these leads me to believe that they have success on the test, and therefore whatever they're doing works. So why not? So I would subscribe to that if you're as we go. I'll put links up to it as well when we get to it. But I was looking at it. Right now it's all rotational stuff. We're not there yet. So we have to finish up energy, do momentum, and then we'll get into this. And hopefully we'll be ready. We'll see. As far as this is concerned, before I forget, assignments. Okay, so we're here now. All right, so I want to let me just do this. Work at energy folder link. So I'm going to go and I'm going to upload the answers that I have. I finally got those ready to go. Here we go. And work at energy. And I got a couple files to upload. And when I upload these, when you go to the folder, you'll see them in there. So I'm just going to load all the answers that I've today. I'll wait on that. That's done. Yeah, so. All right, so next time you go to the Google folder, there'll be answers to the multiple choice questions as well. So you can check to see if you're doing those correctly. You guys are good with the assignment and what I want for that? Let's see. So I wanted the typers done, the 1 to 20 and the multiple choice, and now I want the rest of the typers. I'll get answers to those. The addendum, which is only a couple questions involving springs, and the second round of multiple choice. So by next class, which is Tuesday, I think, I want this stuff done too. In an ideal world.
Okay.
Cool?
Yep.
All right, my friends.
Well, yeah.
I will talk to you on Tuesday then, if not before.